everyone, and welcome back to the Comfort Book Club. I'm Miranda, my mum Donna is joining me.
Hello everyone.
As always for this book club, to have a chat about some of our favourite comfort reads. So the Comfort Book Club is now running during cosy season, September
Very appropriate.
to December it is. And September's choice of book was The Railway Children by Edith Nesbit, a classic children's book that we both love.
Absolutely.
And it's been lovely hearing from some of you who've been reading along with us this month. Thank you to those who sent in a written message, and I'll read those aloud at the end of our chat together. It was lovely to hear your thoughts. But yes, I'm really looking forward to diving into a discussion of this book. I was trying to remember when I first read it, and did you read it to me first, or was it one I read myself?
It's one you read yourself, but then we would talk about it quite a lot. I remember that.
Did you read Five Children and It to me?
I did.
Okay,
yes.
I think that's what got me started on my love for Edith Nesbit.
I think so too.
But yeah, this one I then read myself.
Yeah.
And absolutely loved it as a child.
Yeah, it's a classic comfort read for children, I think, as well as adults. It's interesting, like, it just has so much in it, and when you look at it as an adult, you see it quite differently, or at least I did. I mean, when you were a child, you were really, you loved Bobby. I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still do, I have to say.
Yeah.
She's such a lovely character. The setting of the book is interesting because I had remembered it as being set in Yorkshire.
Yeah.
But on reading it again, there's no specific reference to where it's set.
Do you think it's because of it definitely is Yorkshire in the film with Jenny Agutter as Bobby?
Yes, yeah.
I think that might be why we associate the story now. But I mean, it doesn't say a specific county, does it?
It's somewhere up north.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say where exactly. But I loved that film so much when I was little.
Yes, me too. I mean, that came out and I actually saw it in the cinema.
Oh, really?
Yes. See, that's how old I am. And I remember the first Puffin edition I have. I mean, this is another one.
Yeah.
But the first Puffin edition I had actually had the picture of the film from the film on the cover, which I think you had too.
Yes, I think I did.
Yeah.
And of course, the more recent film version, Jenny Agutter's now playing the mother, where she was playing Bobby.
Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. I love them both. They're both excellent. But my heart belongs to the first one. I have to admit.
Yes. Well, I think the first one you watch often. Stays with you. And yes, I think the film a lot of people know and love, and that's part of the popularity of the book today. But I have to say, if you've never read the book, it really is charming, isn't it?
It is absolutely charming. It's got beautiful descriptions of the countryside in it too. I know that you used one of them yourself in the Country Commonplace book.
I did. There is a quote from the Railway, a September quote actually from the Railway Children in there. Yes, I love the way that they really embrace country life when they move from London to the countryside, and the children really do sort of fall in love with where they are, I think.
Yeah, very much.
But this is a book that's very much about community, both the community within a family, as well as a wider community.
Yes, definitely.
And friendship.
Yes.
And I love how the railway brings all of that together.
It does. It's beautifully done, isn't it? I mean, you've got the station master and you've got the porter, Mr. Perks. So that's one little area. And then Mrs. Perks and the people of the village around, which is quite charmingly done when the post office mistress is kind of like, well, yes, I'll give something to Mr. Perks, but it's my birthday tomorrow.
Well, she refuses to give anything.
That's what she does, doesn't she?
She says, well, it's my birthday too, and no one will give me anything. And then it's very touching when the children give her some lovely flowers from their garden.
Yes.
And it melts her heart a little bit.
Yes, she becomes a friend to them and everything. It's lovely.
Yeah, I think this is a book that's very much about kindness, isn't it?
It is very much. And there's that set piece that opens the books where, well, the children are a very different milieu before their father has, the disgrace fall upon him, but he's not guilty, as Bobby is so eager for everybody to know. I think it's very touching. And, the whole beginning of it is a different type of milieu, and then they go to the countryside and they make lasting friends in obviously this sort of environment where that's possible. The village atmosphere is lovely. The local doctor is very helpful, and then of course the canals and the railway. Those are the two.
Exactly. And I mean, they're not the canal children; they're the railway children,
because they saw that first.
Yes. I thought that was brilliant, but I love the way that they all have such an imagination, the children. The trains almost come alive.
The green dragon at the 9:15. I love that.
I love that too. And I think there's something quite poignant about reading this book in today's age, where you think they were able to have these experiences and be part of a community and enjoy the countryside because they weren't just at home on a screen.
No, exactly. They're out and about. They're exploring. They're in an environment where their mother can trust them to go out and come back.
Obviously, they're allowed greater freedom than
ever any
you would be nowadays.
Yes. Although I do remember being allowed to play along railway tracks. I must say, I think there was only one train a day by that point, about 7 or 6 in the morning, so it was totally safe. But even so, I think, gosh, we used to go through the woods, a group of us girls, down on the railway tracks, and you think, wow, that wouldn't be allowed nowadays. I can't think it would be safe, sadly.
But they are able to use their imagination because they have to make their own entertainment, which I think is what is still relevant to today.
It is.
And that you hope children are still able to do that. And of course they have each other, the 3 siblings. They play together, though that's sometimes rather fraught.
I think it's so true to life, the way they quarrel. And how that works out. They all struggle to be good and to be better, but it's very hard. Yes, it's a very truthful look at siblings, I'm sure.
Yes, but I love the relationship that they have together, which
cozy.
is ultimately very caring.
It is.
For each other and obviously for their mother and both their parents.
Yes.
But they're shown to be very thoughtful of others, especially Roberta.
She's definitely, I mean, you look at her and you think she's so empathetic. She's so understanding of her siblings, of every adult that she has anything in depth to do with, and especially her mother. That's very special. The bit I particularly love is where she realizes that her mother is missing her own mother at one point, who's obviously passed away.
Such an adult kind of thinking.
But it's done effectively as a child recognising this. Basically, she's just coming to puberty, and you can just see that.
She's maturing in her thinking as well. And obviously this experience matures all of them to a certain extent. But Bobby is the eldest anyway, so she feels that extra responsibility. But mother and children, mother and daughter relationships maybe especially are very important in the book, and I think that's one of the reasons we love it.
I think you're right. Did you find this time you focused more on the mother? Because I think I did. Reading it as a child, you definitely focused. I did on Bobby.
Yes.
And I loved all of it, but I focused on her. But this time I was amazed at how much I was admiring of the mother and thinking about her situation.
Yes, which was a very difficult one.
Well, hugely. And you said to me, it's interesting, she can't have the time to write a novel. She's scampering to make the money out of, doing little short stories. That was how obviously women could, by selling to magazines and journals, they could.
So she was just writing all the time, wasn't she, every day? And yet having to just churn out short stories all the time in order to try and make a living. And you had a good point about that because, it's actually shown how strong women can be in the book. They're not the sort of soft, gentle creatures.
The doctor
yes.
uses as a way to try and calm
yes.
Peter down,
That's
trying to be too gory with his sisters.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in fact, that's shown to not be true, I think, in the book.
Yes.
And the mother is incredibly tough.
Yes, and Bobby's incredibly brave, and so's her mother, and so are all the children, in fact. But you see that with these women particularly, because they sometimes hide their discomfort and their pain.
Yes.
This is, I think it's true. You can really see that the mother's incredibly upset, incredibly depressed, as anybody would be whose husband's been sent unfairly to jail, and you just feel for her as how she's trying to keep everything together.
Yes.
And also it's interesting, I noticed this time the character of the aunt, who I didn't as a child really notice so much, but she's obviously not the children's favourite, but they've come to value like her common sense. She's given them big water resistant coats and gaiters, to keep the sogginess out of their feet, and you just really admire the way she's thought ahead. She packed the food so that when they arrive and can't find the food that Mrs. Vinnie's left for them, they have some. They manage to prise open the box. That's
such a memorable scene.
It is, isn't it?
Yes. But I definitely focused a lot more on the mother, I think, in this reading, and really thinking more about what she was going through, but really admiring her character. And I thought she was a brilliant mother.
Yes, she was, definitely. I loved the way that she wrote little rhymes, and I think that was an inspiration to me with one of them anyway, with like doing little things like that for Easter and things like that for you. It was lovely the way she wrote little rhymes for each child
on their birthday. I know, that was a really lovely little moment in the book. I love that too. And she's just a very sort of kind and understanding parent as well. But yes, it's a horrible position for her to be in, and you admire her strength as well. Yes,
and it's interesting that she's fluent obviously in French, and she's someone who's actually read the Russian Immigrants book and knows about him and knows his fame, and this fits in, I think, to the fact that Edith Nesbit was definitely very political. She started one of the starters of the Fabian Society, and a great interest in politics. So
that was interesting. I feel that came out a little bit in the mother's character. Too. I mean, Edith Nesbit had a very difficult life in many ways.
Yes, and as they say in the book that in the introduction of the I think it was the vintage one I was reading, they say something like she had a very disruptive marriage, and that's one way of describing it.
Yes, you feel sorry for her.
Yes, very much.
But I also felt that she had sympathy and understanding for the mother, sort of writing desperately for money, because I think she also knew what it was to write for money herself. So I thought she maybe put a little bit of herself.
She did, and also I think it's quite interesting that her own father died when she was 4, I think. And many of her books, the father is absent or dead or whatever, or just gone, you know. And I think that is a bit heart-rending when you think, of the importance of at the ending of, oh, my daddy, which always sort of chokes me up a bit. I think that it's, she lost her own father very, very young. And you could tell as well, I mean, one of the things that really struck me was how much illness there is in a short span, because we were trying to work out, and you had it, when they arrived in the countryside and when the book ended. And it's not many months at all.
No, it's pretty much over a summer. So they arrive maybe in kind of May or beginning of June, and then it ends in September. So it's sort of just over a few months. But you're right, there is a lot of illness. The mother's dangerous illness.
Influenza, which obviously was a killer there.
Yes. And obviously the worry of that when they can't afford the right medicine, the right food for her. But also Peter sort of stepping on the rake.
Oh, that part.
Really nasty.
Yes, it's really nasty. You think nowadays,
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then of course the boy who's playing the hair.
Yes.
In the paper
breaking
chase,
breaking his leg.
in the tunnel. I mean, that's such a dramatic scene. I mean,
Oh,
I remember
isn't
when I
that?
was little, just being, I just sort of raced through the book because even though it's a very gentle story, there are some really exciting moments.
There are.
I mean, the landslide, I think that's still a really atmospheric, evocative description of a landslide happening onto the railway tracks.
Absolutely.
And the children needing to prevent a disaster.
Right, and whipping off those red
Yes.
petticoats. Yes.
Classic scene.
Yes.
But also when the boy breaks his leg and is in the tunnel in danger of getting run over, and Bobby waits with him.
Yeah.
But it also exciting.
It was very, very exciting. There are lots of really quite, even the bit where he's stealing the coal, Peter mining, as he likes to call it. That's like, him being watched by the station master and what's going on there. It's quite what is going to happen, how punished will he be, and everything. There's a lot of fairness in the adults from every walk of life in this. They're very understanding. They're very kind.
They are.
So many, even with the graphics material, and sometimes being a bit short with them, like the bargeman.
Yes.
When they actually save the baby, in the fire.
Yes.
His gratitude, his fairness to his wife. Oh no, it was my fault. I don't know if it was his
pipe or something.
Yes. And all that. I thought it was really well done.
Of course. I love that too. The kindness that the children extend to people that they encounter, but also the kindness that they meet from others. Yeah. I think is really lovely. And I think by the end of the book, you're aware that the community surrounding them, the people in the village, knew about their father, what happened, because they're also happy when they've read the paper and realise. But you realise they've never taunted the children with this information. No. They've actually been incredibly supportive. Yeah. Which I think makes the ending even more touching in some ways. And you realise like everyone's so happy
and excited for them too.
Yeah.
And that ending, isn't it the most perfect ending?
Yes.
I've always thought that.
Yeah. It is such a wonderful ending. But one of the most important friendships that the children make in the book is with the old gentleman.
Oh, that's wonderful. They see him waving they wave and he waves back.
Yes.
From the green dragon, I guess it is. He's on. Yes.
And I love how just that tiny exchange of kindness, sort of waving and waving back, actually opens up this life-changing friendship.
Well, it's so true. And I think, do you remember as a child, people would wave, like other children would wave at you if you were in the car, and you'd wave back on, when you're going long distances on motorways and things. This was more common. Yeah. You don't see that as much today, do you?
Don't. No, you'd worry about waving at a train, and people would just think you were quite old, and waving back. Yes. But I love that.
Yes, it was lovely.
Just a small thing like that. Yeah. Actually does change their lives in the end and bring a lot of happiness to all of them.
Yes.
And I think it's interesting, to think about the train as in those days being something quite new and exciting still.
Absolutely. But the sense of threat with it too, that it is going very fast, that there's the element of risk when the signalman falls asleep.
Yes.
And they just wait, he just is woken in time to prevent something going badly wrong with the tracks not being switched and everything. Yeah. And that's really interesting.
Yes, it is. But also this idea of this network bringing people together that you wouldn't encounter normally, and it shrinking the world a little bit, which is in this book I think shown in a positive way.
It really is. And also the fact that the old gentleman's grandson is actually one of the hounds,
one of those happy coincidences.
Yes. And do you think, I think there's a hint there could be a romance there in the future
between him
You
and
and
Bobby. Yes, maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know if that again came from the film a little bit more than the book, but I think it's there actually in the book too.
It's just the way that they can talk so easily in the dark, and you know, be so they're trusting of each other.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
So yes, I think there is a little hint maybe of that.
Yes, not overdone, just beautifully done. I didn't notice it as a child. I must say, it was this time. I thought,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I love the way that Nesbit directly addresses the reader.
I love that too.
Yes.
I love that too. And she says things like, I'm not going to tell you the old gentleman's name, because really, what does it matter? You know?
Yes.
So,
and she said, of course, mothers don't have a favourite child, but if she were to have a favourite child, it would be Roberta.
Yeah.
And you feel that Roberta, or Bobby, is Nesbit's favourite character for sure. And again, she even says at some point, I have to start calling her Bobby now.
Yes, she does. Roberta, yes, everybody else does.
Yes,
she does.
Yes, and you get, there's this real affection for the character. And I wonder if she based that character on anyone, or, I'm not sure about that.
No, but she's such a lovely character. Even writing her, you could imagine putting the best bits of yourself into it, and also falling in love with this young woman, you're a young girl yourself. It was beautifully done.
Yes, and I loved that. I loved that, real strong affection for a character coming through from the author.
And there are little details, like the way she describes the mother putting the pink icing on the cakes for Perks's birthday.
Yes.
And there's a lot of the fact that even though they have buns for tea when she sells a story, they can't afford a penny bun, which would have been they have a halfpenny bun, which would have been
really quite small.
Yes,
Well, poverty is definitely a theme in the book as well.
Yes.
And the stark reality and the threat and the fear of poverty and what poverty brings, not only for the children and the mother, their circumstances being very much changed, and the children really realise it when they're cold one day in July, which feels realistic for Yorkshire, I have to say.
That could be a local touch. Yes.
And they're not allowed to light a fire.
Yes.
They have to save the coal, and that's when Peter decides to go mining.
Yes.
And then, of course, the great danger comes when the mother falls ill and there's not the money for the proper food.
Yeah.
And
to make her well again.
To make her well again.
Brandy.
The best brandy too.
Brandy. That's right. Yeah.
But you also see it in Perks and his family.
And their pride too.
Yes.
Yes, very much their pride.
Yes, definitely. And I think that's a really special moment in the book, his birthday party, and how at first it appears to go horribly wrong when he feels he's being given charity. But in fact, when the children manage to show him that in fact all these gifts are given out of respect and admiration and
love.
affection,
Yes.
from everyone in the community, that's the biggest gift they give him.
Yes, absolutely. And he says that, he realises that.
Yes.
And it's the opposite when the signalman tries to bribe Phil and Peter with a shilling. Yes.
And Peter's horrified by that. I mean, that's goes against the code of honour that you sort of see running through a lot of the characters.
They don't snitch, they don't tell on the children, the children don't tell on them. Yeah,
exactly. But yes, I do love the themes of friendship that go through the book, and it reminded me, sort of going back to Edith Nesbit's writing style and these little asides that she tells the reader. It reminded me a bit of C.S. Lewis. And we read The Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe.
I agree.
Last year in December for the
I think he was definitely an E. Nesbit fan, and The Magician's Nephew, especially. I can see that in. I really can.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Yes, because I read The Magician's Nephew again last Christmas too, and then reading The Railway Children, I thought, oh yes, I think he must have been a bit influenced by Edith Nesbit.
So too. And I remember too, if you love these books, do try and get hold of Edward Eger's books.
Yes.
They were also published in Puffin, so you might be able to find second-hand copies for sure. But he was an American writer, but he loved Edith Nesbit, and he's so clever with taking the Edith Nesbit stories into the world of, the States and a bit later on. I don't know when he would have been writing in
50s or 60s?
50s or 40s possibly.
Yes, I can't remember.
I don't know. Yes,
but they're also very funny.
Yeah.
And actually that's something we haven't touched on yet, but it's
humour.
such a huge part of the writing. Yeah, the humour.
Yeah.
And a sense of humour.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was chuckling aloud.
Me too.
Many times reading this. I think especially over poor Phyllis.
This is wonderful, and the bootlace. I must say that she's so adorable as a character. You do warm to. They're all lovely. That's the thing. But Phyllis, I have a soft spot for because she's so clumsy. Bless her. She's always scraping her knees and falling over and tripping over her bootlace.
And Edith Nesbit manages to convey a lot, I feel, in very few words, because I think how she introduces Phyllis is, she says something like, and Phyllis, who always means very well.
There was one bit when, bless her, she spills the lemonade all down her white dress, so she decides to go along with the other two and stand behind.
You think, oh dear, that's what will bankrupt the mother in the end. That's what they do to their clothes all the time, ripping up their petticoats, the mess they get themselves into. But there are lots of really funny moments, and that's something that I've always adored about Edith Nesbit's writing, is how funny she is.
Absolutely.
You really do laugh aloud reading her books, and Edward Eger really captures that same spirit of fun and sense of humour.
Absolutely.
And I think that great way he shares with Edith Nesbit of being able to talk to children. They're addressing the readers in the book, but very much at a child's level, but never being condescending or patronising.
And as an adult, you can really enjoy it too.
Exactly, yes.
This would be a perfect book to have read aloud to you. I'm sorry I missed that, but at least I did the
well, you got me started.
I did.
On Edith
I
Nesbit,
did.
And then I'm sure I just wanted
about
to
the
read
vocabulary in comparison to what. This is designed really for a 9 to 12-year-old. I would think.
Yes.
I thought it was incredible. I had certainly read it maybe at 8 or 9. I remember starting with her, and if there were words I didn't understand, like some of right at the beginning they talk about going to masters, and I can't remember what it is now. Let me have a quick look.
We looked it up, and it was almost like sort of magicians shows.
Yes.
Like magic shows.
Yes. That was exactly it, because we wondered. And you see, yes, here it is. It's masculine and cooks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I like having those little references to Edwardian, I suppose.
Yes, it would be.
England.
Yes.
That is very much a bygone age.
Yeah.
But you as the children contemporary to that time would have understood those references.
For you and I'm sure that I just read through it and assumed it was some entertainment place that they would go, just like it was the zoo and Madame Tussauds. It was another thing like that.
Exactly.
But as an adult, it's fascinating to follow through, and there's a lot of literary references. They do some beginning of poems, of the children, I think, mention at some point something literary.
Yes.
And you realise, this was very much the common background of her readers.
Yes, when you feel that they love stories.
Yes,
the children. The mum has always shared stories with them. You could tell, and even though she does make up her own rhymes and things like that.
Yes, they love poetry, obviously, as a family.
So you think that's really lovely. Yes, I got a lot of pleasure out of reading it again as an adult.
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
So really glad to have returned to this one.
Yeah, me too. And we loved having to read The Lark with the Comfort
Yeah, that
Book
was
Club.
an old Comfort Book Club
Yes, another Edith
choice
Nesbit
as well.
Yes.
Which was her only adult novel.
Yes, that's right.
But definitely another big favourite.
Yeah.
And a lot of her hallmark sort of characteristics and traits are in The Lark as well.
Yeah, they are.
Lots of humour and brilliant characters. So definitely recommend that one. But I wanted to share messages from Comfort Book Club readers who sent in a written message. So I'm going to read those aloud now. So I'll start off with the first one and then we can alternate. So the first comment is from Mel. What stands out most for me in this novel is that there are truly good and virtuous characters. I want to be the mother in this story. Her determination, kindness, and gentleness are all things which inspire me. There is too much in the current culture of showing mums who are far from good examples. I'm thinking of shows like Desperate Housewives. It seems like women are applauded nowadays for lots of selfish reasons. As a mother, I want to be good and kind and loving to my children, and I benefited from the inspiration that this mother provided. I felt this book provided a lot of other positive role models as well. It was all about the integrity of the characters rather than them being valued for being strong, physically fit, beautiful, the smartest in the class, the funniest and most popular, etc. Thank you for this recommendation.
Oh, I really agree.
Yeah, the mother is a lovely character, as we've said.
And yes, and she does good characters remarkably well, which is very hard to write, I think.
Yes, I would agree with that. Do you want to read the next comment from Laura?
Lovely. So Laura says, thank you for choosing this delightful book to start a new season of the Comfort Book Club. I simply adored The Railway Children. It's such a heartwarming story, full of hope and great life lessons about friendship, love, generosity, family ties, and respect of others. I also appreciated the most darling sense of humour running through the novel. These lines really made me laugh so hard. I suppose I shall have to be married someday, said Peter, but it will be an awful bother having her around all the time. I'd like to marry a lady who had trances and only woke up once or twice a year. It is such a joy to read along with you in this wonderful community, Laura.
Oh,
it's lovely.
Thank
you,
Laura.
Yes, it's a very funny. That's a great example of the
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Erica sent a message. What touched me most about this story was the three extraordinary children who all displayed kindness, empathy, compassion, and resilience beyond their years despite their struggles. Roberta, or Bobby, was my favourite character. She is only 12 years old, yet extremely sensitive to her family's needs, especially her mother's. She bravely takes initiative to help her mother on numerous occasions, at times without her knowledge, to avoid her mother being embarrassed. Roberta was also the one who helped her father's release. Reading the story made me realise how much our world has changed, but at the same time, how little our needs have changed. We humans still today need genuine connection with one another, loving family and supportive friends around us to truly thrive and be happy. Yes, those are lovely messages from the book.
Erica.
Yes, thank you, Erica. Lovely. And I love Roberta too, such a wonderful character. Miriam sent a message.
Lovely. So Miriam says, I totally loved The Railway Children and can see how one would want to return to this book over and over again. I felt so bad for the family in the beginning as they had to quickly relocate back to their old home and adjust to an almost subsistence lifestyle. I felt for mum and kids, and when they could only burn one candle at a time or not have both butter and jam on their toast. But none of this took down their spirit as they embraced their adventures around the rail station and befriending the staff. All the while, poor mum is trying to sell her stories to earn a living. While I love the eventual friendship the kids had with the old gentleman, who ended up turning the family's life around, I also love the children's relationship with the old station master, Albert Perks. The part where they pulled together the neighbours' resources to give Perks a great birthday was so touching. When fallen trees blocked the train tracks, we readers were on pins and needles as the kids scrambled to warn the driver of the upcoming danger. finally resorting to the girls tearing out their red petticoats to create a makeshift flag. Thank you for the great recommendation. Thank you, Miriam. That's lovely. Yeah, that was great.
And then Ruth sent a message saying, "What a delight it was to return to this book for the first time since my childhood. My memories of the plot were hazy and I wasn't sure how it would hold up to an adult reading, but I was absolutely hooked and devoured it in a couple of sittings. I was pleasantly surprised by how fresh and funny it was, especially at a time when I'd assumed most children's prose was moral and didactic. But this really is a book about love and how it's found in so many ways. The love of each family member for one another, the love of the countryside and the railway, and the love within the community built up around the station. Reading now as an adult, I can see all the pain and sacrifice and the burning, steadfast love that Mother had for Father and that Bobby has for them both, especially as the truth of the situation is so shockingly exposed to her, and she learns that, like Mother, she must pick herself up and carry on. In all the drama and heartache of the novel, I also loved the humour. I loved Perk's birthday and his refusing the charity offered to him, while his wife continually tells him he's making a massive fuss about nothing. And I laughed out loud at Phyllis's explanation of how she gardens, because I have to admit this is my approach too. I can't weed for fear I pull up the wrong things, she used to say comfortably. It saves such a lot of work. I couldn't help but wish that we were allowed in the house when Bobby finally brings Father home. I'd have liked to know how they rebuilt their lives after everything they had all been through. I'm sure there were ups and downs, but equally I'm sure that their love together would be strong enough to work through any challenges they faced in settling down again together. Thank you again for such a fantastic autumn pick." Well, thank you, Ruth.
Yes, thank you, Ruth.
I love that about gardening too.
Yes, that was one of the ones that really struck me. Just bung enough in, the weeds won't fight their way through.
Yes, I really love the humour in that book. But yes, thank you to everyone who sent in a message for us, and thank you to all of you who read along with us this month. Next month, so for October, remember the choice is Sleeping Murder by Agatha Christie, one of our favourite Miss Marples.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to getting cosy with this Miss Marple, and I hope you'll be able to read along with us in October. But thanks so much for watching today, and see you again soon. I've actually got an extra video coming out this Tuesday, so do look out for that. But thank you again. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.